Hi, welcome to Good Friday. Have you had any hot cross buns? I've got mine here, though I bet yours isn't bigger than my hot cross bun. And isn't Good Friday a funny name? Because actually it's a very sad day, isn't it? When we hear the story of what happened on Good Friday. But apparently good in Good Friday means holy, so it's a holy day. Anyway, when we last thinking about the Holy Week story, we had yesterday the story of the Last Supper and Jesus washing the disciples' feet. And I thought we're going to wash Evangeline's feet. What do you think? So, Evangeline, if you stand up. Right, now can you, that's it. Hold on to this bag. I am going to, there's a bag full of water. I'm going to puncture this bag with the pencils.
Oh.
So do you think you're going to get wet feet?
Yeah. I
Just like
hold it down. Because then it's...
Okay, no.
So it's going to go all over me.
No, hold it up. Right, you ready? Can you see this, Noah, with the camera? Right, let's move it around here so you can see.
Why did I volunteer for this?
Okay, ready?
Yeah. Oh, she's got it through.
Put your feet underneath because you're going to get wet feet. There we go. Have you got wet feet, Evangeline?
No.
No. There we go. Have you look at that then? That's our magic trick for the day. Press stop. Hi everyone, I've come out into my cabin to get some peace and quiet so I can read you a special story. So the story I'm going to read you today is about the Good Friday story, and it's from this book, which is called Riding on a Donkey by Bethan James and Christina Callery Nagy by Anno Domini Publishing. I hope you enjoy. This is a story of what happened that very first Easter. Jesus' friends were watching and waiting as he came into Jerusalem. "Look, here's Jesus," they said. Clip, clop, clip, clop. "Jesus is riding on a little donkey." Clip, clop, clip, clop. Some people made a soft path for the donkey's feet. Others waved palm branches and cheered. "Hooray, it's Jesus!" they shouted. Later that week, Jesus had supper with his disciples. Jesus knew that Judas, one of his friends, didn't want to be his friend anymore. Soon some very sad things would happen to Jesus. "This bread we share is like my body," said Jesus. "Soon it will be broken." "This cup of wine is like my blood," said Jesus. "Soon it will be spilled." "I will take care of you, Jesus," said Peter. "I will always be your friend." After supper, Jesus went to the garden to pray. He asked his friends to keep watch. Then Jesus prayed, asking God to help him to be brave. The moonlight shone on the olive trees. An owl called, "Hoot, hoot," in the night. Then Jesus found that his friends had fallen asleep. Now here was Judas, bringing men armed with swords and clubs to march Jesus away. All the disciples were frightened and ran away. But Peter followed the men to a courtyard to see what would happen to Jesus. "Aren't you a friend of Jesus?" said someone there. "Weren't you with him?" said another. "You even had the same accent," said a third. "No, no, no," said Peter. "I don't know him at all. Jesus is not my friend." Then Peter realised what a terrible thing he had done. The Roman governor was worried. Why had they brought this kind, gentle man to him? Pontius Pilate knew Jesus had done nothing wrong. Why did they want him to die? He hoped the crowd would help him. "What shall I do with Jesus?" he asked them. "Crucify him," they shouted. "Put him on a cross to die." Pilate washed his hands and told his soldiers to take Jesus away. The soldiers made fun of Jesus. Then they made him carry a large piece of wood. It was very heavy. It hurt his shoulders. It was a long walk to the hill outside the city walls. When Jesus fell down, the soldiers hit him. Then they made a man from the crowd pick up the wood and carry it the rest of the way. On the hillside, Jesus was nailed to the piece of wood. "If you are the man who works miracles, save yourself," called the man on the cross on one side of Jesus. "Leave him alone," said the man on the other cross. "He doesn't deserve to die as we do." John, one of his disciples, comforted Mary, his mother. "Look after my mother, John," said Jesus. Then, a little while later, Jesus died. Jesus died on a Friday afternoon. All Jesus' friends were very, very sad. One of them had asked Pontius Pilate if he could bury Jesus' body in his own tomb. Some of the women followed, weeping, and saw the place where Jesus was buried. It was a tomb in a beautiful garden. They rolled a huge stone door across the entrance. Everyone rested on Saturday, but early on Sunday morning, Mary Magdalene and some other friends went to the garden with flowers and herbs. There they had a big surprise. The stone had been rolled away from the door, and some angels told them, "Jesus is not here. He is no longer dead. Jesus is alive." So why did Jesus need to go and die on the cross? Well, it's because God cannot be near sin. It meant that before Jesus went on the cross, we could not be friends with God. There was so much sin and hate in the world. You see our word hate here. It made God sad. God so loved the people, but how could he reach them? So God came up with a plan to create a gate, so people could pass through the barrier which was separating them from God. In this plan, God gave us his son, Jesus, as a human. Jesus lived a perfect life. He didn't sin. He was a great teacher, healer, miracle worker, and a friend to all the people he met. But the most important thing he did was to give his life. He died the most painful death imaginable on the cross. He did this so that death can be beaten and we can live in a relationship with God now and in heaven. We are friends with God again. Jesus really did turn hate into love. Here's some cards that we've made. They remind us of the cross and what it means to us, something that's good to think about on Good Friday. And also, I don't know if you're anything like me, I found it difficult to get Easter cards this year, so this is a nice way of being able to make Easter cards to give to our family, pop through their door, or you could take a photograph of it and email it to your family, or pop it through your next door neighbour's door. So first of all, we'll look at the one with the cross. It's very simple. I try to keep it as simple as possible because we haven't got many materials at the moment. It's difficult to get hold of them, so it might be some compromise required with some of the making here. But the first one we do, I've got Evangeline, my assistant today, who's going to help me. Hi, Evangeline. Hi. Okay, so first of all, we'll start off with the card here, the cross. Evangeline. So first of all, get a piece of card which you can fold in half. If you get some brown paper. Or if you haven't got brown paper, you could use white paper. And just a minute, Evangeline, so we can show people what you're doing. Brown, you can get white paper and colour it in brown. An easy way I found of making cross so it's symmetrical is to fold a piece of paper in half like Evangeline's doing, then draw a cross template
Half of it.
on one half. Okay, and if you cut it out now, Evangeline, and then hopefully you'll have a lovely shaped cross afterwards. That's it. Okay, open up and see. Lovely. Okay, so if you pop that onto the card, all it needs is just to be stuck down with glue. And then I just got some paper, just white paper, and printed off "He is risen," and then just cut it out into nice different sorts of shapes just to add a bit of interest. And then, yeah, and that can get stuck on as well. And then you end up with a card that looks like that. Very simple. And if you haven't got card, you can fold a piece of paper up into 4 and it makes a nice sturdy piece of paper that you can turn into a card. Okay, so that's it. So Evangeline's finishing that one. Now we'll go over to the next card, Evangeline. Oh, that's it. She's just finishing it. Well done. That's nice and easy, isn't it? And quick. Hopefully that'll bless someone. Okay. Thank you, Evangeline. Okay, so for this card, we started off and did this earlier by putting a watercolour wash over a piece of white paper. We just chose to sort of put pink in the bottom, go into yellow and then blue, looking a bit like the sunrise. You think a rainbow, lovely. And so on top, once that's dry, you can then paint with black paint the hill with the crosses on. And then you can then stick it onto a piece of card and that's your card done. So Evangeline's just going to paint the black hill on now and we'll go back to see how she's got on.
Now this is the one I made.
Well done, that's really good. So we're going prayer, and the next time I see you will be Easter Sunday. Yay! I'm going to use a piece of paper for my prayer. O Lord Jesus, help us to remember this Good Friday how you finished the work you were sent to do. Thank you, Jesus, that your great love for us went on full display on the cross. Amen.